How to play the guitar, fingerpicking or fingerstyle. Lesson 5. Alternating bass lines, and we do these using the primary finger. If you want to follow this lesson using the eBooks, you'll find them on ebooks4guitar.com, and you're looking for month 9, week 4, and that's free to view online. The easiest way for me to explain what these are, or what use they are, is for you to actually try doing a couple. So straight away, let's jump into exercise 1. In this exercise, we're simply playing an A major with the primary index middle index pattern, or PIMI, as we've done in previous exercises in previous lessons. However, this time, notice the primary finger alternates between the root, or the A string, and the D string. Let's try playing this exercise with a metronome beat at 130 beats per minute. The way you're using your thumb or the primary finger in this exercise is the alternating bass line, because you're alternating between two strings. Let's try it with a different finger picking pattern and a different chord, but doing the same thing with the bass line. This is exercise 2, and we're playing the C major chord and using the finger picking pattern of primary, index, middle, annular, middle, index, or PIMAMI. This particular exercise is in 6/8 time, so there's 6 beats in the bar. Therefore we count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Try this exercise with a metronome beat at 130 beats per minute. Remember that you can pause these videos at any point and practice the exercises either without a metronome or with your own metronome at any speed you prefer. Hopefully, after trying the first 2 exercises, it's become quite clear what an alternating bass line is. And it's where the bass line alternates between 2 or more notes to make it more interesting. Now, it's more common to see this kind of bass line where you hear one chord repeated over several bars, and it makes it more interesting. If you were playing one bass note over and over again, it would get very monotonous. And in fact, that's where the word monotonous comes from. It means monotonal, as in one tone. So, obviously, you want your bass lines and your whole guitar part to be as interesting as possible. Exercise 3. Let's try an exercise where we're going between 2 chords, as well as using alternating bass lines. For this exercise, we'll use the A major chord and the D major chord, and we're using the finger picking pattern PIMI again. Notice that in this fingerpicking exercise, the A major and the D major have reversed thumb patterns relative to one another. And this is because the first note you want to play for each chord really wants to be the root of the chord. So the first note we play for the D is the D note, and the first note we play for the A is the A note. So the D will alternate high note, low note, high note, low note, whereas the A was alternating low note, high note, low note, high note. However, this also makes the fingerpicking pattern sound more interesting. Let's try this with a metronome at 130 beats per minute. Exercise 4. Right, let's bring all this together into a longer and more interesting exercise. In this exercise, we'll be playing 4 chords, and they are the C major, A minor, D minor, and G7. Also notice that the first 4 lines repeat. This exercise uses the primary, index, middle, annular, or PIMA fingerpicking pattern. Let's just try that on the C with the alternating bass line before we go any further, just to settle ourselves into that pattern. Right, once you've got the C using the PIMA fingerpicking pattern, we should be able to just go straight through this a few times just to get the hang of it before introducing the repeat. However, the only chord to watch out for is the D minor. Notice that with the D minor, the primary finger plays the D bass first, so it goes from high bass to low bass, whereas all the other chords in this exercise go low bass to high bass. Watch out for that when you're practicing it and when you're learning it. Right, let's try playing through this exercise without the repeats at 130 beats per minute. If you manage to play through this exercise, let's try it again, but this time introducing the repeats. Once you feel you've accomplished exercise 4, move on to exercise 5. Exercise 5. With exercise 5, notice straight away with the first line you have a G major chord, and the primary finger is covering 3 strings with the bass line. It first does the bottom E string, then the A string, and then the D string, and back down. The first line of this exercise repeats anyway, so let's try it a couple of times to get the hang of moving between 3 strings with the primary finger. It's worth pointing out that in this exercise, the only chord that goes between 3 strings is the G major. Therefore, you don't have to watch out for this with the other chords. You're just playing between 2 strings. Let's see and hear the entire exercise played before we try it. Assuming you managed to play the first line of this exercise okay, let's move on to the middle section. You'll notice this section has a little bit of everything. The first line is another of the G, using 3 bass notes. However, then the second line is an A minor, just moving between 2 bass notes. the next line after that is a C, which uses all exactly the same finger picking as the A minor. However, the next line is a D, where the bass line is reversed. And then you'd repeat the whole middle section. So let's see and hear that done. Right, let's try the entire exercise from start to finish with repeats at 130 beats per minute. Most of the exercises and tunes we've covered so far in the fingerpicking section actually sound better without a metronome. However, I use a metronome in order that you can copy what I'm doing or follow along more easily with the tablature. However, once you've got the hang of it and once you know what you're doing, you can actually try playing these without a metronome, and then you can speed up and slow down the song and use greater and lesser volume in order to create the emotional response you're really looking for. Once you feel reasonably happy with exercise 5, let's move on to exercise 6. Exercise 6. This exercise is quite difficult, so if you find it hard to play and you just can't do it, don't worry about it Exercise 7 is actually easier, so skip on to the next exercise. But first, give it a try just to see how you get on. Before attempting this exercise, however, let's just have a quick look at the G6 chord. And a G6 chord can be played by simply playing a G and removing the third finger from the top E string. However, in the context of this tune, it would be far more simple to finger this chord a different way. So you'd use the second finger on the second fret of the A string and the third finger on the third fret of the G string. By playing it this way, the changes between the A minor and the G6th and the G6th and the C major and E major are far simpler. As the most common chord change to the G6th in this tune is from the A minor to the G6th, let's just try practicing going between the A minor and the G6th and back again a few times just to get used to the chord change and the chord. We'll start off by doing a chord change every 2 bars and then reduce it to doing a chord change every bar so that you can get used to playing the chord changes more quickly. Once you're comfortable with the G6 and once you're fairly happy with the chord changes, let's move on to the next new thing in this tune that we need to look at. And that is this instruction at the end of the tune, Da capo al fine. And what that actually means is return to the top of the tune and then go to the end. However, the end isn't the end as you might imagine, it's where the fine is written above the score. Therefore, to play this correctly, what we actually do is we play right the way from the start to the end, then we return to the beginning, Da capo, and then we play halfway down the tune to where it says fine, and that's the true end of the tune. The next thing we need to look at before we go any further with this exercise is obviously the fingerpicking pattern. Now, on its own, this fingerpicking pattern would look fairly simple. It's just primary, middle, index. However, it's repeated often and the bass primary finger is moving around a lot. You'll see, looking at the score, if you look at the first line, the fingerpicking pattern repeats 4 times in the first bar alone. So, before we attempt this exercise, let's take that first bar with the C chord and repeat it a few times to get the hang of the fingerpicking pattern. You'll notice in the tablature there's 12 notes per bar. However, to make it easier to count and to play, we'll be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's see and hear that again, but this time the notes that the primary finger plays are marked in red. let's see and hear this entire exercise being played from start to finish with repeats at 130 beats per minute. If you think you can follow along, try playing along with it. Otherwise, just listen to the exercise so you know how it eventually should sound. Right, let's see and hear that done again. As with previous exercises, this one sounds particularly good free time, but it also sounds good quite quick, so practice it for a while before trying to speed it up, and if you get it quickly, you'll be quite impressed with how it sounds. If you find exercise 6 a bit of a struggle, or if you're happy with it, you can move on to exercise 7. Exercise 7. This exercise is actually easier than exercise 6. However, the hope is that you can practice it and get it moving really smoothly so you can hear the tune in the bass line. Let's see and hear exercise 7 being played. The finger picking pattern for this exercise is primary, annular, middle, index, or PAMI. And this one we've done before, so you shouldn't have any problem with the finger picking pattern. But just in case, let's try playing the G with the PAMI finger picking pattern a few times just to refamiliarize ourselves with it. Right, I think the hardest part of this exercise is actually getting between the G and the other chords, as the G is quite a difficult chord to come from and go to. Therefore, if you find it easier, you could use an alternative fingering method, which we'd partially covered earlier in this lesson when we did the G6th. Most chord charts show the G major being played with the first finger on the A string in the 2nd fret and the 2nd finger on the bottom E string in the 3rd fret and your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the top E string. However, sometimes it's easier to use the 2nd finger in the 2nd fret of the A string and the 3rd finger in the 3rd fret of the bottom E string and the little finger or the 4th finger on the 3rd fret of the top E string. Just try that a couple of times and see how you get on. Right, let's try strumming the G major to the C major to the G major a few times just to see which way of playing the chord is best with you and which way gives you the most fluent results. We'll start off with a chord change every 2 bars and then go to a chord change every bar, and we'll do this twice. Right, let's bring that together with the finger picking, and we'll try playing the first line of this exercise a few times. So that's going between the G major and the C major, but using the PAMI finger picking pattern. Once you're fairly happy with that chord change and the finger picking pattern, you can try bringing the whole tune together, as the rest of the tune is pretty straightforward. Let's hear and see it done again, so you know what it should sound like. Let's see and hear that done again. As with some of the tunes we covered in the previous lessons, I think this tune sounds particularly good in a free time style. So you use the volume and the speed to create an emotional response. As well as doing that, though, you can use the speed to help you get over awkward chord changes. So if you slow down towards the awkward chord change and then speed up after it, you can actually use this as a way of creating this emotional response. So altogether, you'll just sound like a far better guitarist. Let's see and hear that done. If you've enjoyed this guitar lesson and want to see more like it, please like and subscribe, and then you'll be notified when I upload new lessons. You can see the ebooks that accompany these lessons and the tab at ebooksforguitar.com, and you'll find this particular lesson in month 9, week 4.